Brian is innocent. Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Listen up, the ashes stir, phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the lax to meet the blur. Out the flames I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth's the blaze I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stump in unison, searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for jumping in here. It's good to see everyone. And I just have to say, happy Friday. It is absolutely amazing to be here today. And, there's a video dropping soon. As soon as I am done with this live, I will load it on up for you to review. It is a fireball out there. Now, I know the streets of YouTube are a little bit different than the tickety talk out there. And I know that no man likes to be told they're wrong. And with that in mind, I have made a video. And I'd appreciate it if you all watched it. Because you know that I come with receipts, truth, and evidence. So I want to welcome you all in today. Thanks for being here. Hey, Lulu Bell, Critic Rick, you must be like waiting for the live. You were first. Donna Rosa, you are first today. Welcome in. Welcome in, y'all. Patty, OG in the house. Looking forward to this Friday final countdown. Lulu Bell, hello. Welcome. Come on in. I'll wrap you up, give you some hugs. And here we go. Yep. Amanda B, my trusty mod. Love you, girl. Thank you for all your amazing designs. Hello, Dina and Mary and Rebecca. Welcome in. All right. Let me not forget Misinformation. Good to see you here today. Wolf Angel. Hello. My pal Sal Vintage. Welcome in. Mantra. Love it. Oh my God, she's spying on us in the chat. Who is she? If you know, you know. Let her spy away and spew her little lies. Let her web her little tangle web, right? All right, so let's get this started today. One of the very few things that I have been looking at is obviously these reports and these waiting of the doc drops to see if we're going to get any new orders, any new info, any new unsealing today, because the deadline was today to tell us exactly what they were going to unseal. Nothing has been released yet. There is nothing on the repository in regards to the IDAHO4 case. There is the last thing that I have seen, and I'll give you a little view of what I'm looking at, is the repository in the current case summary. And as you can see for yourself, let me show you. There is nothing in the repository for today. Now, where can you find these documents? Right on my website, Justice for All. And this website was not made just for Brian Kober because he is factually innocent. This is also to make you aware of our constitutional and civil rights. If you're not aware, you need to be aware. I love sharing what I know. Knowledge is power. Make sure that you understand your constitutional rights. So there is nothing in the repository today. There is nothing new in regards to the case. Waiting for these court orders to drop to see what they're going to unleash on us. What motions or redacted information are we going to be able to see today? We don't know because there is no update. But one of the very few things that who's spying? I don't like to be left out. Who is spying? I don't know. I don't know who's spying, but I'm glad you find my content interesting. If you focused on yourself a little more, then you might be able to grow your own self. So, in regards to the Bethany Funk situation in the IDAHO4, I know that she has been very silent, just like Brian Koberger. She is one of the 2 surviving roommates in the Idaho killings of the 4 college students. There was, a delivered impact statement via Emily A. that we saw because there was no trial, but there was a sentencing. And hey, Caleb, good to see you here. And one of the key things that she said in her statement was, "Why do I get to live and not them?" she said. And I know that this is not Bethany's picture. I could have superimposed it with her real picture. I use AI a lot because, per my disclaimer, anyone here that you see pictures and you're like, that ain't the real person, we know this. Thank you for pointing it out. It's for educational, commentary, entertainment purposes only. And these expressions are expressed by me solely, the creator. Whatever you want to drop in the chat, feel free, freedom of speech. Just make sure that you guys are very respectful. That's all I ask here. We don't need to hound anyone or blame anyone or anything like that. But let's get started. Why is this like so curious that this is in fact Bethany's room? Have you ever looked at this picture and thought, something is not right? Drop a 1 if that's you. Something is not right with this picture. Drop a 1 if that is something that you would agree with. You know, somebody says, oh, there's a body laying in the bed. I really don't see a body. There is blankets that I see in the mirror. And, I'm like, well, what chat but Phoenix? Pavopu has responded facts. I just said I just made a video and I will load it up to my channel and you guys can go watch that part 2 of the I don't want to say, I'm going to call it the reckoning, right? But I will say it's very interesting that when you look at the facts, you'll clearly see what's going on. Now, yeah, big time mad. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. And it wasn't like I was calling him out at all. It was the families have reached out to me and said, will you set the record straight, please? And I'm like, well, send me all the facts and the evidence and I'll take a look. And if somebody's done you dirty, I'm going to do you right. And that's exactly what took place. So let's do this. We see Bethany's room and we are like, what happened here? Right? This is something that I've said. This is something that other people have said. Okay. And one of the things that a lot of people were like, was the door locked? Was Bethany's door locked? And I don't know if it was in fact locked because investigators noted when they proceeded to the scene, some bedrooms were locked. And the standard protocol is to breach locked doors, especially in a homicide investigation, to make sure no victims or evidence are inside. So the chain of custody requirement for that is to ensure that no one tampers with potential evidence. So investigators must document the condition of every room. And you see that in the ISP documents, but you don't see that in the Moscow department in documents, right? In their department documents, you do not see status, condition, nothing. It's like Moscow didn't even put it out there. And if Bethany's door was locked, then they'd have to break it open to gain entry and inventory things and rule out suspect possibility, right? At the start, detectives didn't know who was the victim, witness, or suspects. Her room had to be cleared and documented to prove she wasn't harmed and to make sure no one else was hiding or injured in that room. But why did CSI dust her window? Was it a point of entry or exit? Did somebody go in and out her window? I mean, it looked like the blinds. I know we had a discussion. The blinds are on the floor, knocked down. It looks like somebody rummaged through her drawers looking for something, broke her drawer, perhaps, and it looks like one of the side of the desk is broken. There's a pair of pants maybe there, some shoes. It looks like somebody maybe left in a hurry. Is that possible? Blinds are on the floor. I mean, I'm going to show you something very interesting that you're like, oh, we already know that. Okay, well, I'm sure we all heard it, right? We all heard it. We all saw it. Maybe some of us know it. Maybe some of us are just looking into the case. I know I've been looking into this case for a very long time, and I didn't start making videos until I had more teeth. And what do I mean by that? Court documents. Court documents I like going through court documents. I don't know about you, but they tell pretty much what actually factually happened. Police department documents, yeah, but courts have to find evidence, truth, and the whole big shebang, right? They have to go in and say, yeah, this is possible what happened. And in the beginning, let me just open this document. In the beginning, and this is all theory and speculation today, folks. You're getting the real deal on the theory and speculation. Where is my image? Boop, boop, doop. Where'd you go? I thought I got in here early enough to load these up, but nope. Let's see. Hold on. Did I put them in my pictures? I bet you I did. I loaded them up. All right, here we go. You're going to love this. Oh my goodness gracious. There are some things that just blow my mind, and then there's other things that blow my mind. Okay, so in this document, I want to show you first. This is going to be what throws us into a huge loop. Okay, so here we go. Let me grab this. Downloads. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to set the stage. In November, this document was made November 17th, 22. And this says AG Files, and Lawrence Mowry wrote this report, this narrative, 22. And he states, on November 15th, 2022, I received an email from SG. Excuse me. The blank of Kaylee. He stated he had access to some Kaylee's messages and phone calls. S stated he would have blankety blank contact me about those files. I was able to speak with A, and this is Mowry. He's speaking with A. And she sent me various files, including an image from the spokesman review showing a camera on a nearby residence, text messages between Kaylee and JD. Now, let me show you what the infamous spokesman review had to say about this, because this is important to the message that I'm going with today. In this message, the mayor, Art Bettage, said in an interview calling the deaths a targeted one-off solution. Then he says yada, yada, yada about 1122 King Road and the taped off area, which is near Greek Row. On Monday, Latah County prosecutor Bill Thompson arrived to tour the scene. Officers spread out to search the garbage cans, and by early afternoon, a search and rescue truck brought a dog to search the hill above the home. Now, this in fact document was dated 11/14, the day after the findings, the unalivings. Okay? This was just the day after they responded to the home. Okay, so he goes on to say that they brought a rescue truck and a dog to search the hill above the home. And then he names the victims. And he said Mogan and Goncalves graduated from Lake City High School in 2019. Kernoodle graduated from Post Falls High School in 2020. Chapin graduated from Mount Vernon High School in 2021. And then he goes on to say, this is the mayor. Police have not disclosed how the students were killed at the home just south of campus. They responded to the home about 11 a.m. Sunday after a caller reported an unconscious person. Now, we've always been told 12, right? 11:58, the call comes in. I'm not going to dispute 58 minutes here, but that's a little sus. And the mayor goes on to spout off, he called the tragedy a senseless act of violence. In a statement expressing condolences to the families. In an interview, he added, the situation was not likely to be repeated. Basically, they were telling the community, yeah, it's not a serial unaliver. It's not one of those things. Our community could be safe. Before asking the community for patience as investigators work the complex case. Then he told the New York Times the homicides were a crime of passion. What? This was the day after. The mayor's out there just doing a whole press tour conference until people roll back and say, wait, what are we going to do now? And then they waited 4 days to show up at the university to give some big old press conference, right? Are you guys seeing what I'm laying down? I'll show you the exact document that I pulled up under that statement made by the call that was shared in this document. Spokesman review. And I will type it in. Spokesman review, IDAHO4, 2022. Here is my search results. And you can see on the 11th, on the 19th, and the 14th right here. Details remain unclear on and here it is. Bing, bang, bam. November 14th, 2022, updated on the 17th at 5:01. You can go down and you can read the whole entire document. He told the New York Times the homicides were a crime of passion. Too bad you can't see my my screen, huh? Holy moly. Boy, I got to get on the ball. Look at that. Okay. Let me add this one to the stage, remove that one, and add this one right there. And this is the spokesman review. This is the article that AG clipped and sent to Detective Mowry. November 14th, 2022. The details are unclear, but he told the New York Times the homicides were a crime of passion. It seems to have some hallmarks thereof. Then he was asked about the statement the spokesman review gave in the conclusion of process of elimination. We really don't know what it was. No one had been arrested as of Monday afternoon. It's going to be a very slow moving due to the complexity of the situation. So please bear with us. Please bear with us. Wow. 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 Okay. Then they give some background and some history on, who was in what sorority, who was in what fraternity, what they're majoring in, and all that good stuff. Okay. So we have a little bit of foundation. Yeah, but it wasn't Brian Koberger. We know that. So we go back to this document, sequence number 22, and it says, she sent the image from the spokesman review, showed the camera nearby the residence, and text messages between Kaylee and JD. D, what were those messages? Are we going to see some of these messages in this document drop? Are we going to be able to witness some of those? Because they definitely are not in these documents. There's also text messages between Kaylee and her Uber driver, E. What were those messages? I mean, are we going to be able to see them? I know they're private information. Text messages usually aren't public unless made public in court documents or people publish them themselves. But I'm still interested to know, what were those text messages? Text messages that have a lot of context here. And she sent a recent phone call list and a video from the Grub Truck Twitch TV feed. Okay, well, we've got check, check, check. Well, what else could possibly be of value when looking at some of these messages? Now, we didn't see Dylan and Bethany's. We didn't see all of them. They only showed us a portion, right? Only a tiny portion. And then this report goes on to say that he reached out, got the camera at the residence at the 1112, I believe, and the SD card from the camera, because we see that in later supplemental sequence number reports, narratives, that they had a hard time getting that information to where, in fact, they needed to gain the router to get that video off of there. So then they go on to say that so-and-so next door stated she was out of town, but she sent a video to Officer Rosinski showing a figure walk to the dumpster and appear to look inside. Now, we know which way 1112 faces. It faces King Road. It faces the street. Who walked to a dumpster that early in the morning at 3, what time was it? She saw, I think it's on another report, it's like 3:20. She saw a figure walk to the dumpster on camera. So there is a lot more that they're not showing us, right? Because we've only seen part of that video where cars come in and out. It's kind of busy, you know, and all that stuff is going on. But when you begin to look at the next step, is obviously after they've dusted her window, look around, they take the latent prints off the windowsills, frames, locks, anything they can find, fingerprints or DNA. And if her window had any evidence of tampering, it could suggest a secondary entrance to this house. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, why would her room look this bad? Did somebody jump in or out her window? Was she in the middle of, like, I don't know, entertaining someone? Or, I mean, this is all hypothetical, right? Did someone try to sneak out her window? Did somebody, like, I don't know. I mean, some people like some kinky stuff, you know? They like people to come in and act like intruders and, you know, role play and stuff like that. Is that something that could have happened? I don't know. I mean, it's pure speculation, right? But if the mayor said it was a crime of passion, then I automatically go to something happened, someone got caught, and someone went wild. If this was in fact a crime of passion, that's where my mind goes. Has anybody questioned this before? Has anybody said, what the heck happened here? Anybody thought about that? I mean, she has a normal doorknob on her door. It's not a key code. And you think about it, did somebody try to escape the window or come in the window? And looking at the blinds look like somebody tried to come in the window maybe. And there's even a step stool right below the window. I thought that a little odd. But if somebody's going to step in the window, then maybe they needed a step stool to get in and out easy. I don't know. I just thought if it was a crime of passion, then who got upset. Who could have that been? Well, the mayor kind of told us. But then I started looking at the evidence logs. And one of the things that they took from Bethany's room was her laptop. Let me take this banner off for a second so you can see it. Exhibit 055, gray colored laptop located on desk of floor 1, west bedroom. That's Bethany Funk. That's her bedroom. That had to have been her PC. When you think about it, why would the authorities need somebody's laptop? I mean, they collected everyone's laptops, everyone's phone, digital evidence, got it, check, makes sense. Why else would they need to do that? You know, the fact that they treated Bethany's room as a potential crime scene shows investigators weren't ruling her out at the time, either as a victim, a potential target, or someone whose room the suspect may have used, right? They were dusting. It looks a little disheveled. They didn't see any blood in there. But the crime scene investigators made it a point to look at her room. So if prints or DNA were lifted from a window that didn't match known residents, that could be one of those unknown DNA profiles that we've been looking at, that they were tracking. And if it was forced entry by police, that could explain why her laptop, power cord, and other personal effects were carefully tagged. They entered to clean the room by force, chain of custody. It's more important, right? So when you start looking at the bigger picture, what could have been on Bethany's laptop? Digital evidence, absolutely. Oh, this is interesting, Caleb. Crime of passion is a crime committed in the heat of passion or in response to provocation, as opposed to a crime that was premeditated or deliberated. So when the mayor first came out the day after and said this was a crime of passion, senseless, targeted crime of passion. So why did they need the laptop? I mean, in most cases today, digital evidence is needed for everything, right? So let's go through the list. I mean, is it potentially conceivable that this was a crime of passion? Drop a 1 if you believe it could be. Remember, we're talking speculation based off information we were given within the first 48 hours. She was in a rush not to call 911, but to go to Thanksgiving. Yeah, maybe she wanted some turkey. I mean, just saying, right? They're not going to look in every room in that house. They'd be stupid not to. They had to clear the crime scene. They didn't know if the intruder was still in there or injured or laying somewhere. Looks like a battle went on in there. Yeah, in a hurry. In a hurry to leave? In a hurry to what? You know? I don't think it looks like a body in that bed, but there are blankets there. So let's think about it. What could be on Bethany's laptop? Well, I could name a few things off the top of my head, like messages, texts, direct messages, group chats, before and after the murders. Because didn't she say that she was watching Baby Mama or something like that, either on a laptop or a tablet? It could have proved that she was in fact watching what she said she was. Email, right, Dina? Email, absolutely. I definitely see crime of passion where others were, by the way. Possible, yeah. Laptop has a camera. Were they looking for evidence? I mean, truly, if this was a home invasion, a robbery, were they looking for something in Bethany's drawers? Were they looking and they broke her drawer, or were rummaging through her drawers, or someone left in a hurry? Did she have exculpatory evidence? Did she have proof Her Amazon shopping. I believe it was an iPad, Phoenix. Okay, cool. So all her work photos, anything on a laptop. I mean, my mind definitely went to evidence of who she was in contact that night, friends, roommates, anyone suspicious, social media activity log, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. Some people use their laptops as primary and don't use their phones, right? When you hack the laptop cam, possibly, they did have a network that they had a little bit of problem. They had to go back and get I think it was charter or something like that. They had to get warrants. And I also thought about timing evidence. System logs, it could confirm when the laptop was last active, browser history, timestamps, might line up or conflict with all her statements, streaming activity. Nowadays you've got Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, whether or not she was awake or asleep. Someone already said photos, pictures, any videos from that night, party, snaps, group photos, outside of the house photos. Is that even a possibility? Because Maddie and Kaylee's clothes were actually thrown in evidence dryers because they were still wet. They were still wet. And when you look a little bit further into it, she could have had screenshots of conversations or events relative to the victims, unintended. Like she might have just had them and not even realized, oh, by the way, she could have, been making a video or something, or and picked up background noises or someone outside or something of that. Because the location and connectivity is so important. Wi-Fi logs. So that's why they had to get the router from Charter. I think it was Charter. It proves where the laptop was and wasn't at the times it was connected. And remember, you do get IP logins to accounts from the house and everywhere else. And also if somebody tries to connect to your device or your Wi-Fi. So there's all kinds of ways that her laptop, not just hers, but every single person in the house, because they even had a warrant to get JD's information. They needed that router to prove whoever pinged or connected to that network. And then obviously you can dig down a little deeper and go down this rabbit hole and potentially use Find My iPhone. Because as we well know, when we see that infamous cop cam video, what does Bethany do? After Dylan is talking with the officer already, she pulls up. So where was Bethany's phone? Who had Bethany's phone? Did Bethany run out the house? Did Bethany leave in a hurry? And she left her phone? Those are really great questions. Great speculation. Google Location Sync, if linked to all her accounts, she didn't have a Google phone. I think she had an iPhone. But if she had any other, devices that could connect, like earphones, Beats, anything like that to her laptop, those are all important digital evidence. So if Dylan or Bethany have recollections of mental gaps about what happened that night, the laptop could either support or contradict them. I wonder if they ever went down this road to look at this evidence. Do you think they did? Drop a 1. Because honestly, I would have to drop a 2. I don't think they went down this road. I don't think they were looking at these individuals to see if it's even possible that they really weren't true victims. It's just a thought. We're speculating today. Because when I saw her room disheveled and I saw they took her laptop, because remember, she was downstairs. She saw a flash. She did see that flash. And remember, I mean, if you think about it, didn't she give us an indication when the Reno investigation took place? Remember, she didn't come back to Idaho. She didn't come back to Idaho, folks. We know that. The investigators went to go talk with her. And when you look at her statement from that, I mean, I'll throw it up here on the screen for you to see it. When they went to Reno to interview her, this is sequence 90, they audio recorded it. I mean, I've asked for a lot of evidentiary information. Will I get it? Don't know. They haven't released much. But says it right here. I went to meet BF at her blank in the office, and her attorney, TV, we all know who that is, and Matthew is with the state of Nevada State Police. He's the investigator. And this was a follow-up interview to the homicide in Moscow. I asked Bethany who had the front door code. Well, Bethany told me the following people had the code. Bethany herself, Dylan, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan, J.M. Is that the same J.M. that said, Dylan, you want me to come pick you guys up? Is that the same J.M.? Do you guys remember that? I wonder. J.M. Was it Josie? Because I thought her last name was something different. Her name ends in L. J.M. And then it looks like I might need some glasses here to even see that little small letter. Jenna. That's who I thought it was. McClure. Jenna McClure. Alleged. And then C.O. And I've seen this so often. Do you guys know who C.O. is? I think I figured that one out. Because I'll show you the document. Yeah. Right here. I think maybe, is that C.O.? Yeah, I think that's their neighbor. I believe it is. Hey, Phoenix muted, or do I gotta? Yeah, go out and come back in, Gypsy. And then it says L.M., which is, I think, the same individual that was watching movies with Bethany and Dylan. And H.J. and E.A., we know who they are. And J.L. So I think Josie's last name is L. So I know that J.M. is not Josie. It's got to be something else. So when you look at this, she said the above named people were the only ones that had the code. And the code had been the same as it was the year before. And Maddie was the only one that lived in the residence the year before and stayed in the same room. Bethany had stated her, Dylan, and Kaylee moved in around August. But we just had a conflicting story the other day because of the fact that it was said that Kaylee was there the whole summer and had one roommate. Was it a crime of passion between the girls? I don't know. Those injuries were pretty severe. Maddie's room was located on the 3rd floor on the east side of the residence, next to the bathroom. And I think, did it work, Gypsy? I hope you can hear us. And I think that perhaps this set the stage for what happened. Because within the first 48 hours, the mayor did tell us, yeah, guys, this was a crime of passion. Why was that? He said it himself right here in this interview. it was a crime of passion. Well, whose passion? Whose passion got them in this hot mess? He told the New York Times the homicides were a crime of passion. And did you know the mayor now is not seeking re-election? He said Moscow Mayor Bill Buttigieg announced during his State of the City 2025 address that he will not be running for re-election. So now we have the mayor gone, the chief of police replaced, Latah County prosecutor retiring, judge retired, officers left. I can understand officers leave and come and go. But did you know one of the people on the ballot to replace the mayor and that's running for mayor in Moscow is actually no other than a U of I graduate, Haley Lewis, in the middle, backed by Governor Little. Wow. We have a graduate of U of I running for mayor. There's another lady on the ballot that's a little bit older, a little bit more mature. But I thought that was very interesting that somebody from the U of I, she does public relations for a company out there. Some of the company that some of these frats worked at that are in the community. Yeah, thought it was pretty interesting. But when I look back at the beginning, the first 48 hours of this case, the actual mayor was the one, guys, that said it was a crime of passion. So if we've got the information up front, why are we going down rabbit holes, bringing innocent young high school kids into this horrible atrocity? And I can get into it good, but you guys are going to have to watch my video. I mean, I could see if my video's loaded by now on my channel. See if it's ready. Let me just take a peek and see if it's loaded. Let me see. No, it's not loaded. Shoot, you guys are going to have to go back and watch it because I dropped JS Part 2. JS Part 2 in the IDAHO4. Now I know I'm going to probably get some heat. No man wants to be told they're wrong. But why would somebody be telling you something so wrong and then saying, oh, and then my next video, I'm not going to be talking about this anymore. It is what it is. I don't know about that, guys. I'm not into the drama BS. I'm into finding the truth, the facts, and the evidence of anything that comes my way. And I'll tell you, when the families reach out and say, can you set the record straight? You better believe it. Because it's not right to leave innocent people involved or name them out when they're not involved. It's just common courtesy not to do that. I pride myself on integrity. And if I've ever done wrong, let me know. I'll fix it. I'll correct it. Just like the video I made the other day, I realized I was wrong and I took it down because it wasn't accurate information. I had to double check myself and triple check myself because the way I was looking at the house was not the way an investigator was looking at the house. I mean, after all, the front door does face the south, but I digress. It faced north. But I will say this. One thing I know for sure, the more I look into this, the more factual that it looks like Kohberger had no part in this. And was he the patsy? Was he a patsy? Probably. And for what? Who knows? But I'll leave you with this little bit of information because I believe in truth and facts. And I don't want to leave you guys hanging too long. A few things that I found through the family, double-checked, all public information, is that Jackson Nicholas Mowich Snyder was born in 2005. That means today he's 20 years old. And I don't see any police reports anywhere interviewing a 17-year-old. I don't see it. And I don't see any indication anywhere that it could possibly even be a high schooler. Now, I know that they're saying that he lived in an apartment on Queen Road. Don't believe that either. I'm just telling you guys, this guy comes from a really good family, a family that adopted him, that is loving and gave him a great opportunity. They live in a modest home, just humble to adopt as many kids as they have. Gave this kid a better life. And having to try to connect him to all this nonsense is just pure wrong. And I will say this, it's all public information, but we need to be a little bit smarter and do better. We just have to. Because we live in a world right now that it's just disgusting. We have to make sure that we protect one another. There are tons of JSs out there, but there's only one that was at the grub truck. And if it was a crime of passion, like the mayor told us, why are we even going down and trying to connect innocent people? Doesn't make sense. But I digress. I'm going to stay humble and I'm going to stay kind and I'm going to keep being full of integrity. And thank you for the families and friends that reached out of these individuals and said, could you set the record straight? Absolutely. Did I call Ann Taylor? Absolutely, as a concerned citizen. Abso-freaking-lutely. If an innocent man was sitting in jail, factually innocent, no DNA, didn't prove he was even part of this by any means, and pled to save his own life from the people who wanted to put him behind bars that did succeed, of course I'm going to call as a concerned citizen. And what did Ann Taylor's office tell me exactly? Don't listen to the little birdies out there. And I'm not referring to my guy Birdie. I'm talking about the people, the little whisperers that put stuff in people's ears. That's what I'm talking about. Those little whisperers, those little, what do I want to call them? I mean, they're just evil spirits whispering in people's ears. It's horrible, folks. That's not a world I want to live in. I want to live in truth and justice and facts. And I'll fight for the truth. So when a family member or a friend reaches out to me to clear these individuals and say, hey, these kids were in high school, living their best lives, living for the best future, please don't let them drag them into this. I have to speak up. That's me. I would fight for you if you were innocent. So remember, we all just want truth. Be careful what you listen to. Be careful who you listen to. Because at the end of the day, we're all searching for the truth. We all want to be told the truth. And if Bryan Kohberger is factually innocent, I think it's time he gets a little freedom. I don't know about you, but I do know that in the end, justice will win. Because if you don't know by now, look at all the people who have ever been exonerated because they were found guilty in a court of law or they took a plea deal to save their lives. 95% convictions never go to trial, folks. They never go to trial, and innocent people do take plea deals. They do, in fact. So, will you relax tonight with your family and your friends? I just want to say, make sure you tell one person thank you for your freedom. Thank them. And you have to still fight for your freedoms. Be well, everyone. Be very well.